Hey, let's have some fun. Let's predict how the 2024-25 college football season is going to go, shall we? Starting with the number one overall seed here, I think it's going to come out of the Big Ten, and I think it's going to be Oregon over Ohio State in not just the regular season, but also for the Big Ten title game. Number two seed from the SEC, no one talking about Ole Miss. I think they're very underrated. Not to mention a relatively soft schedule compared to what Georgia, Texas, and Bama have. Number three out of the Big 12, just about everyone's looking at Utah to win that conference. Yeah, me too. Me too. Number four, the ACC champion. I got Clemson, believe it or not. I think Clemson's going to the ACC championship and beat Florida State in the rematch. Now for the fifth conference champion. What about those Blue Broncos from the Gem State in Boise State? I still remember 2006. Now to the at-larges, going from 5 to 11. At 5, the Big Ten runner-up in Ohio State. I imagine the Buckeyes are going to be 1 or 2 going into that championship game against Oregon. At number 6, the SEC runner-up in the Georgia Bulldogs. Bulldogs' schedule is a bit rough, but I imagine they're up to the task with a bit of a slip-up against the Rebels in the SEC title game. At lucky number 7, it's going to be the team that actually starts the year at number 7, the Irish of Notre Dame. Looking at their schedule, I honestly don't see more than 2 losses on there. I think that's good for 7. My number 8 team that's getting a home playoff game, hook 'em horns. Give me the Longhorns of Texas. Quinn Ewers is my odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. And their opponent at number 9, they just can't stay away from each other. How about an old Big 12 rivalry and a surprise OK State? My reasoning? SEC and Big Ten is going to be chaos with all those teams they have in there. So an ACC and a Big 12 might sneak in the door. At number 10, I think it's going to come down to one particular game on November 9th in Baton Rouge between Bama and LSU. I think whoever wins that is going to end up getting this spot. And I'm going to go with the LSU Tigers. Tough call, but this is going to be Bama's first year without Saban. There's going to be some growing pains. And finally at 11, I had a tough time with this one, but I ultimately picked Penn State. With my first 2 out being Florida State and Michigan in that order. And now to see who wins. Let's start with Ohio State, Boise State. Boise State, I know you wanted Ohio State in 06, but you don't want them now. Buckeyes advance. To the 6-11 matchup, sorry State College, but I think Kirby Smart's got the Bulldogs ready for it. To the 7-10, nope, no SEC rematch. I got Notre Dame beating the Tigers in South Bend. And as for the Big 12 rivalry, or the old one at least, give me the Horns over the Cowboys. Quarterfinal action, let's start with 2 teams that are very familiar with each other, Clemson and Ohio State. This is an interesting one, but I'm going to go Ohio State over Clemson, actually. 3 versus 6. Utes are good, but Georgia's experienced. Give me Georgia by 3. And who will meet them in the semis? How about a third battle with the Rebels of Ole Miss? Rounding off the courts, Oregon or Texas? Man, that's going to be a good game. But give me Oregon by a point. Now to the semis. By the way, 2 teams playing each other 3 times in the same year doesn't happen in college, and I have it happening here twice. To the SEC, Ole Miss or Georgia? Ole Miss is good, but Georgia, again, the experience is there. By a touchdown, give me Georgia going to the national championship. And now to the semifinal with the 2 Big Tens. Buckeyes or Ducks? Sorry, Columbus. Whack, whack. Oregon's going to the Natty. So Oregon or Georgia for the national championship? Well, remember this a couple years ago? Haven't seen the Ducks getting beaten this bad since Wolf Stanson and Iceland beat up Gordon Bombay and USA in the first meeting. Although I think this championship game will be much closer than what 2 years ago was. I still think this is Kirby Smart and Georgia's time until someone steps in and takes it away from him. So there you have it. Georgia over Oregon in the national championship, and the Bulldogs win 3 championships in 4 years. Now let's see how god-awful these predictions turn out to be.